Ruth, I don't know whether you'd rather answer that one.
Sure. Can you repeat the question?
The question was actually about what ACCA is doing in the US to encourage growth in membership.
In relation to IFRS or just kind of
just generally.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think we have our US office for the first time ever. We've split from Canada, and so I'm the engagement manager here, so we're going to be a different title but the same. And we've got Simone and of course Warner, he's the head of the US. So we've got 3 people and soon to be 5. We just hired a policy manager who's going to start in DC to really learn about the US structure and the US format, learn about CPA, what's happening, how we can really best fit in here. So I think, you know, we're really focused on the members we have right now. We're not really focused on trying to get new ones here yet. We just want to give the members we have a really fair chance and really understand the playground that we have. So we're all here and we're trying to do expanded social networking so everybody can talk to each other. We know the US is huge and you're all here in New York and that's great. This is the largest group we get, but we have people in, you know, Wisconsin and Mexico, you know, New Mexico that want to talk to people as well. So we're trying to bring the group together and then learn more about the field that we have. So
Yeah, I was actually just going to say, I mean, I'm really excited by the, not just, you know, the expansion in general, but particularly the DC
policy manager.
Because the US is such an important market globally, and certainly from the global headquarters, we very much recognise that we need to invest in the US, and we. Bruce and Warner do a lot of work with the employers, the global employers, because a number of the people, you know, like the big accounting firms, a lot of them will have headquarters in the US, and a lot of the major global employers will have US headquarters. So it's critical for us that they recognise the value of ACCA. You know, something like KPMG. You will have ACCA members all over the world, and we need to make sure that the people in the US recognise that and recognise the qualification, which then has knock-on benefits for you guys because it's, you know, they know. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I would just like to add, I'm sure you guys are aware that currently the New York State Board does not recognize ACCA as being the examination requirements for the CPA exam.
Yeah.
Is ACCA working with the New York State Board in terms of changing that recognition, or
are you talking about the CPA board?
Yes.
So that's something, I mean, you know, that's going to be a very long process. Figuring out how ACCA can fit in with CPA is a long, complicated process, but that's definitely something that the policy manager is going to come in. She starts October 1st. You know, we got somebody yesterday, and she's amazing. And she's really going to learn, because there's, you know, every single state has their own board and they're all different. So we need to first come in and just learn about the differences, learn which state is best to start with, who to speak with. So that has never happened before, and that's something that is on our agenda. So it's moving forward, and I wish it could be faster, but it's good to know that it's happening. So that's what I would say to that.
Lady.
So I have a question for you. What message are you sending out to the employers out there regarding ACCA papers in regards to getting jobs, other than that it's easier maybe to go to the big fours because they know what ACCA is, that other companies what messages are you?
We have multiple messages going out. You know, we're asking our members to really be part of that. Every time we have the chance to talk about ACCA, to do it and to, you know, recommend people to come talk to us. I think approved employer situations is a great way to have members talking to their employers about who we are and connecting us. You know, I mean, there's so many ways. We're new. We're under a year old. Is this new regime that we've got? And one great thing we're doing is big partnerships that we're doing. So we did a partnership with City and State, which is a great media organization here in the city and the state. And we had the New York State Controller come and spoke about issues that affected ACCA, issues we were allowed to shape. And then he got a lot of press about that. He learned about ACCA and talked about us, and we had an article about it in the most recent AB. So something like that is a great way to get other people to know about it, because people in the New York area read City and State whether they know about ACCA or not, and then now we're in that. So, you know, we're coming in from a lot of angles, but we need everybody to help.
You have fantastic social media as well, don't
Right,
you?
yeah.
You're very
That's a
active
new-
in
that's-
those kind of things.
Exactly, that's exactly right. Since March, we've launched completely new social media with Twitter and Facebook. We have already over 1,000 followers on Facebook, and we are, you know, posting the articles, talking with people, Twitter, following the right people, getting involved so that members talk to each other and that other companies and other organizations start seeing us pop up. So.
And what about LinkedIn?
LinkedIn too.
We've always had, but we're expanding it. I always tell people to go to LinkedIn. I think it's the best place for students and members to talk to each other, who understand where we are, who, you know.
Do you try to network with the employers on that as well, so at least they're aware?
I mean, we have, you know, there's an accounting link where employers can sign in. And we don't want to send employers information without some sort of initial contact, because you never want them to feel that it's junk mail.
Yes.
So I think here in the U.S., we often are like, what is this? I don't know it. And then we push it aside. So we want to have a good initial contact through a member or through LinkedIn or something. And then there is the employer newsletter that teaches them about ACCA. So I think we're trying to touch on all of the sides that we can. And then when we bring in 2 new people in October, it'll just continue to grow. So.
I think it's interesting to know that we have quite a different team in the US to what we have in a number of other places worldwide. And you guys are very focused on this sort of raising the profile, getting the recognition from employers to, to then help build the profile.
I mean, the head of the US, Warner, he has a very extensive PR background.
Yeah.
So he knows ACCA in and out at this point, but his specialty is taking something and knowing how to get people to understand it and realize that he's worked for the government for years, 10 years. He's been in city and state government and worked in PR, and he's part of the I Heart New York campaign. I mean, he's very impressive, very impressive. So we've got the right people for this market, which is another important step. So I think there's a lot that's happening, and I can definitely, you know, anybody who has questions, I have my card, and I can talk with anyone afterwards if you guys want. So let's finish up. But that's what we're here for. We're new, and we're here. We're going to help. So.
Sorry, going back to the convergence issue.
Yeah.
What are the major obstacles that have been highlighted, as to why the state is taking so long to get to convergence? And what has been done? Has there been any progress done in eliminating as many of them as possible to make the progress imminent?
Yeah, it was around the obstacles to convergence. I think to answer the second part of the question first, which was what's being done, huge amounts of work being done, and the IASB has been working very closely with the US in a number of joint projects to try and work through some of the areas where the differences are biggest to get to a position where there is sort of mutually acceptable outcomes. Interestingly, in the US, that's sort of seen as potentially diluting the existing standards. Outside of the US, that's seen as the US imposing standards on us. So, it all depends where you come from. But there is a lot of work there. I think in terms of what the obstacles are, there were big differences. There's been a lot of work gradually that's been sort of chipping away at those. You also then come into the slightly more sort of emotional side, but when you've got politicians and things involved, it's all about actually giving up sovereignty over your standards. And